All God-fearing persons willing to war for freedom. This is your beacon station. Coming at you live from San Bernardino National Forest with Nacho Desquacho.
Celestis Maria, et comes fidelissime, sancteva qui podie Seniori, visum restituisti, uniorem romnes suscepti, itineris dias delixisti, et in columam conservasti. Esto corporis et animam medici, elle ignorantia tenebras, Liquique in periculosa fulis vitae peregrinazione constante assiste, donet a celestem patriam perditus. Amen. O celestis medice, et comes fidelissime, sancteva qui podie Seniori visum restituisti, uniore per omnes suscepti itineris dias delixisti, et in columam conservasti. Esto corporis et animam medicis, elle ignorantia tenebras, liquique in periculosa fulis vitae peregrinazione constante assiste, donet a celestem patriam perditus. Amen.
Hello, cheers. Welcome to TAAM Radio with Nacho Desquacho. This is Uncle Zorks. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out our other TAAM and Riddle of Steel radio series, which will be a playlist on this channel. Yeah.
Christian the Popcorn Senior, happy holidays, you filthy animal. It's nacho time, mother flutter. TAAM Radio is smacking down all the hosts this year, so be here and drink beer and fight all night for your right to a boletagliador. Christian the Popcorn Senior Cardi, this inicia volatified. We move in the air, it's our dear, hardcore hero, in the audience, slap, reading more, holding around Servius, happy holidays, you filthy animal. Christian the Popcorn Senior Cardi, this Venus, happy holidays, you filthy animal. It's nacho time, mother flutter. TAAM Radio is smacking down all the hosts this year, so be here and drink beer and fight all night for your right to a boletagliador.
สาวๆของฉันพวกนั้นมันลิสนินทาTAAM Radio U ลูกของไอเวนนั่นลูกโอ้โหนิ้วแกะ40ของฉันโดนระบบกดดันก็แค่วิเก้ยิว My hoes and bitches, Yuns is a listening talkie ham radio you son of a bitch kada fuck you dad on my 40 I'm oppressed by the system just like a da yours สาวของฉันพวกนั้นมันลิปสนินทาเทแทมเรดิโอยิวทุกของให้เวนนั่นลูกโอ้โหยิวแกด40ของฉันโดนระบบกดดันก็แค่ลิเกยิว
With Nachow as Squatcho you son of via Bowen. Or one-stop shop for cryptid hunt and esotericanente and heavy-ass steel a tolito a month. Där kunskap kommer du verkligen av Squatcho är ju som whoever bush jag en stor pinko för cryptid jakt esotericanente and svår att stå aftergrundens. Well, please. Welcome to TAAM Radio with Nachow El Squatcho you son of via Boish. Our one-stop shop for cryptid hunt and esotericanente and heavy-ass steel a coito a month. I wouldn't have obligated her to suck shit or take Lilith Slayer to Pound Town in the wrong-ass fuck-on hole you godless goblin shit stain and now shall I sacrifice you to cat.
No la habría obligado a chupar mierda ni a llevar a Lilith Slayer a golpear la ciudad en el maldito agujero del culo, duende sin Dios, mancha de mierda, y ahora debería sacrificarte al gato.
I wouldn't have obligated her to suck shit or...
No la habría obligado a chupar mierda.
I wouldn't have obligated her to suck shit or take Lilith Slayer to Pound Town in the wrong-ass fuck-on hole you godless goblin shit stain and now shall I sacrifice you to cat.
Het Nacho Squad Show. Een oproep tot actie via de vergeten kant van de tweede aap.
You are listening to TAAM Radio with Nacho the Squatcho. A call to arms via the forgotten side of the second A+ world mysteries from the abysmal hills wherewith Behemoth will traverse.
Je luistert naar TAAM Radio.
You are listening to TAAM Radio with...
Je luistert naar TAAM Radio met Nacho Squad Show. Een oproep tot actie via de vergeten kant van de tweede A+ wereld mysteries uit de afgrond te lijken heuvels waar Behemoth doorheen zal trekken.
You are listening to TAAM Radio with Nacho the Squatcho. A call to arms via the forgotten side of the second A+ world mysteries from the abysmal hills wherewith Behemoth will traverse.
Ha 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 you dust. Ha 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 you do some bush that do la.
Ha 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 you da some bosh dat doin umbola kuntola sit and suck the teats of pacifistic slavery into the abysmal 4D infanticide of the West because no 2A balls.
Ha 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 you do some bush that do umbola kuntola นั่งและดูดหัวนมของทาสสันติวิธีเข้าไปในการฆ่าเด็ก4มิติอันเลวร้ายของตะวันตกเพราะไม่มีลูกบอล A 2 ลูก
Ha 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 you da some bosh dat.
Ha 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 you do some bush that do umbrella คุณ
Ha 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 you da some bosh dat doin umbola kuntola sit and suck the teats of pacifistic slavery into the abysmal 4D infanticide of the West because no 2A balls. You're listening to
MM25 Radio with your host Nacho the Squacho coming at you live from the Seder-filled wasteland of San Bernardino, California. You've arrived amongst the few who have more balls than brains against the world and more of the same enemies that God has compared to douchebags. This is TAAM Radio. Do you copy over?
More game stirring, piece of killer comic and fascist ชนิดอยู่เรตติ้งดูคีเสาดิวดูคีบนดูยายกี้ยูเอชดูกับเมอร์ส
You Bogeymeistering, Piso wie Heiler, Commie, Fascist Schnitt, you redding the people do the key on the Yankee the commerce.
ต้นยูโมเกมสเตอร์ริง Piece of Killer Comic and Fascist ชักนิดยูเรตติ้งดูคีเสาดิวดูคีบนดูยายกี้ยูเอชดูกับเมอร์ส
You Bogeymeistering, Piso wie Heiler, Commie, Fascist Schnitt, you redding the people do the on the Yankee the commerce.
Vägen das flygblodda hamnprojektet lät ljudingaling stoppa in pungråtta i din enda jordbruksjordon.
Ja, Judan das flygblodda handtuscheit you.
Ja, i det gröna unda vägen.
Ja, Judan das flygblodda handtuscheit you let Gigi Bingaling put possum dick into your only farmland pool.
Ja, i det gröna unda vägen das flygblodda hamnprojektet lät ljudingaling stoppa in pungråtta i din enda jordbruksjordon. Ja, i det gröna unda vägen das flygblodda hamnprojektet lät ljudingaling stoppa in pungråtta i din enda jordbruksjordon.
Ja, Judan das flygblodda
Ja, i det gröna unda vägen das
Ja, Judan das flygblodda handtuscheit you let Gigi Bingaling put possum dick into your only farmland pool. Libertarian axiomatic in
Mr. Zachary, if you're still watching, it got brought to my attention by Mr. Uncle Zorks. We was having them technical difficulties in the backstage locker room, prepping up my biceps for any of the female viewers that are usually the group as a Joe X, but esse Huglis seems like it got discontinued. This is currently like mid-December 2025, and I surmise that because they's not putting them 90-degree spines to strike them there the ferroids or them that toils and shit. I got them there, it's a fur got a little toil action. I could do some little feather sticking and whatnot. That's some gay shit compared to what Joe does. But you fellers, Uncle Zorks brought it to my attention. Currently, my favorite knife is the Work Tough Get a Wall Hammer, but the very latest model with the G10 handles, they not putting them like the little strap-ons on the Kodak sheath like Tops does with the Storm Vectors, with the El Chetes and whatnot. They don't do that. You got the little doohickeys, like a little string there. I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't trust that for long-term use.
So then there I tried to get the heavy duty cookery from Condor to Lackland seats, but they got discontinued. So then there the next night I plan to get is probably K-Tech cookery, but meanwhile I put a little order for the S-Spat cooker hat cart to business. I think it's supposed to model after the OKC, Auto Now Company, SP, whatever the coker was. It got a convex grind. It's a full flat grind here. So I go consult with Uncle Zorks and see if yuns bring anything to my attention, because sometimes on YouTube or whatnot, they hide yuns comments for some reason, and I seem rude and whatnot. I don't mean to do that to yuns, but I gotta go back and do some freshening up. It's a K-Tab radio, not Tomahawk AM City radio, brought to you by What the Wild Things Do. I is Nacho Squatcho. You is beloved, you and safe creature, and I love you. Out of the vat, yo. I'm sorry I'm missing your comments. I still love you.
Intrinsic innate God-given freedom in the pursuit of spilling the entrails of tyrants. This is KTAM Radio with Nacho the Squatcho. We ain't right, we ain't left, we are upward, amen.
Da you do da cheapy fee and buy da China and you da PR American ha why you a da no da right USC a da hung US ดูยิวดิวดาชีปี้ฟรีค่าธรรมเนียมเอ็นใบดาชัยนูเอ็นยูดูพีอาร์เมริกันฮักไหวยิว US ดูไม่ดูไร US ดูแขวนda you do da cheapy fee and buy da China and you US ดูยิวดิวดาชีปี้ฟรีค่าธรรมเนียมเอ็นใบดาชัยนูเอ็นยิวดูพีอาร์เมริกันฮักไว้ยิว US ดูไม่ดูไร US ดู
Uncle Zorks, he was get back and answer giant. So us here, he says he's got to work tough, get Warhammer too, you hear? Yeah, I realized how much of brush clearing I had to do my little adventures. And it does all them other things that like having knife do the stuff does. This is California, and yeah, there's pros and cons to that we could discuss. I think Uncle Zork says I gotta do stuff. But yeah, man, I really like about Warhammer business. I want to get a leather sheath that can fit my fur rolls and other accoutrements that I always like to do. I'm looking over yonder because sometimes there's stranded chickens. I don't know how chickens get all the way up here. I think maybe they're sick and people dump them here. I think people got them farm or pet chickens and they're starting to get sick and then they'll throw them on the side of the road here. That's really messed up. So what's going on is I don't just prance around in the forest for my own convenience here. I'm doing it for you. I love you. Me and Joe X, some controversial figures, and I got kicked out of them there, over there. It's other videos to say, and other videos earlier in my adventures. So out here in my other natural habitat, in my animalistic formicile that yuns can learn how to meditate the nirvana that transmorphosizes you for $9.99. And anyways, yeah, so I could go to designated campsites, but then what's cool about it is that they illegalized campfires in state parks. So I could go over there and there's less people to scare, because us Bigfoot Sasquatch creatures, we kind of do our wild thing up more secluded like. And so that's the good part of it. But where you can have campfires, I like them marshmallows. I like them fried taters and whatnot. I like sapien feed too. And I can't do that, but in the private parks, I could do that with yuns. But the little fellers, oh my God, he has a machete. They've been scared of me. They're scared of Karens. Them there is the Karens, man. They don't like fellers like me and Joe prancing around the forest, doing our thing. They don't like what the wild things do. I like what yuns do. I love you. I gotta do some more freshening up. I'll be back. I try to read your comments. I need glasses. I get old. Hey, dogs, do your job, man. Read my comments.
I am new PR American.
मेरे प्यारे खुदावंद यसू वो जिद्दी तौर पर मुतजाद और इंतहाई प्यारी बेवकूफ गधा और फेवना नामी बिल्कुल कीमती कतिया जो कुछ भी मेरी जान को मार रहा है ओ मेरे हतमी जनाब.
Oh my sweet Lord Jesus, that stubbornly dissonant and excruciatingly adorable stupid ass and utterly precious bitch named Fiona or whatever is fucking slaying my solo my ultimate sir.
जब मैं इतना बुज़दिल हूँ कि अपनी आंखें निकाल कर खुद को आग लगा सकूँ तो मैं असल में किया करूँ. ओम मैं उसे कभी भी इस तरह नहीं मारूंगा जैसा कि सारसन बुत परस्त करते हैं.
What the actual fuck am I to do when I'm too cowardice to gouge my own eyes out and light myself on fire? Oh, how would I never morate her as the Saracen heathen would.
ना ही मैं उसे इसकी चौथ में डालने की कोशिश करूंगा या उसे तेरे प्यारे बेहीमित के नाग के पट्टों पर दबाने पर मजबूर करूंगा जो मैं हूँ.
Nor would I try to put it in her butt or force her to choke on serpentine muscles of thy dear behemoth, which is I. Purveyor of free speech as far as the godless globalist aristocracy has calibrated the system to allow to leak out. Be here to pacify time with morbid wisdom. You are listening to TAAM Radio, the purveyor of free speech.
Oh, so Mr. Zachary. Mr. Zachary, Zorks just threw the book at me. I really appreciate y'all's patronage. For me, attested to the commensuracy of the work to get a wall habit pertaining to my natural habitat. Cause if it is good for all around California business, it's good for the whole world. I think they put some kind of little bit of nickel in there and zinc or something, some stainless action. I don't know. It's Japanese too steel though. It's pretty tough. I think it is. It's got really good bite force. Joe X rules, man. Got my favorite folder. Joe X's favorite folder is the You can try to guess it before me. I'll give you 10 seconds to guess Joe X's favorite folder. I'll try to think of one because I'm a fixed blade failure. I was a fixed blade failure. But in case Cold Steel ever listening, the only dedicated, what's that? Whatever lock folders, whatever fucking folders I ever bought, ever since I've been starting to watch Joe X, have been Cold Steel. So they can thank him for my business. The freaking SR1 light was like a sharpened pry bar. If they, gnats, I need to get bug spray. If the 5 Max could strike a ferro rod, I would have thought about investing in a 5 Max. I would have. I can't say. Honestly, my favorite folder, you know why? It's going to be a serrated Spyderco. Do you guys know why my favorite knife, or favorite folding knife, would be a serrated Spyderco? And that I just have an SC4, or I would get an SC6, and I had a Tops Wild Pig Hunter. Okay. So, what was I saying? Why I would get a Spyderco stainless with a serrated edge is because most of Tops and SE doesn't have a spine that could strike mother effing freaking fucking ferro rod. The Work Tough Gear Warhammer can like a dream. And I got that's what she said. I have a 6-inch Uberleben. I wanted an 8-inch, but we can only get what God provides. But currently, I think Knife Country USA, if you live in America, Yuns can get an 8-inch, whatever I said, Uberleben ferro rod from Knife Country USA. I think Yuns could do that. I never got the SE Hungless. The SE Hungless almost got me because the sheath is very secure and very deployable, like, okay? Yeah, so it is like that. I was martial artist, so I always iterate to Yuns. So here, they lanyard business, and then now I have like a buckler. This video is mid. I'm really right-handed. This is my left hand. So this is reverse grip. The only time I ever pulled it like that, and I still did cross draw, I think. I can't remember. Somebody was walking like, I wasn't used to that dawn broke. I was hiking and I was coming back from a major hike. Some dude was walking like 2 or 3 killer ass sized dogs. So yeah, it just makes me feel better about the world. I would have had an S6, but S6 is scalp painful. So I was lucky enough to find an SC4 at some smoke shop. I don't know. Let me see if it will start, and I can see if nobody else wrote anything. It's okay. What else? Other honorable mentions. Depending on how much I like this new kukri, I might torture test the K-Bar kukri. Joe X, he torture tested the Cutlass, the K-Bar Cutlass. It should be the same thing, but even more comfortable to do the spine testing. And the K-Bar kukri will hurt to do the spine testing, the handle and whatnot. But we's gonna see something. I'll figure out something to do with it. But the K-Bar fucking kukri would be the best knife in the world, in my opinion, for the price and deadliness. If I don't know if it's possible to have a double. You can't sharpen the false edge on a K-Bar kukri. It would be very good if you had to gouge eyes in a self-defense scenario, fighting Moby Dick or something, which is like which is something that T from Cold Steel accidentally whispers about Joe in her sleep, and Luke is mad at the Freudian pillow talk that's inadvertent from T from Cold Steel. Did you guys hear that because they hire Luke whatever guy, the folding knife breaker guy, Cold Steel hired him as a bellboy and a mascot instead of hiring Joe as their leading frontiersman and tester, and spokesperson. Instead of doing that, now T from Cold Steel, she got fed up with it, and she can't have a man like Joe. She said F it. She don't care what her dad thinks. And she's got this new dude that follows her around. He's always half shirtless. His name's Tyrone. He's real big. I heard he's got 4 arms like Goro from Mortal Kombat. And everybody on the set of Cold Steel are now like walking on eggshells, and it's awkward. And like they're scared to use the urinal right next to Tyrone. And she said F it, and she don't care what anybody thinks, especially her dad. So that she can't have Joe X on set. And so she said F it. That's what's going on. And I guess Luke don't like that. Anyways, what's MKC knives? No, boss, I never heard of them. I never owned a Boosie. I've only owned one Work Tough Gear. I've owned a shitload of Tops. I know Tops and Joe's little the love triangle is funny. It's freaking hilarious. Honestly, I was still gonna buy the Storm Vector because it's right in between something that can pierce, hack, probably clear trails somewhat, as good as what I already have or better. It's whatever. I had the El Chete. I don't know why. I've bartered a lot of knives. I'm not really a knife collector. I'm after Excalibur, the one be all end all, and only have a few of them. So whatever. Yeah. You have a really good one, Zach. We'll get back to the news and all that, but I'm glad for anybody tuning in. And yeah, so let me try to expound upon that before I take off. Go ahead, take off. Have a really good one, Zach. Thanks for having my back. So awesome, man. So lately, my contenders, I keep making videos about the same thing. I actually have like 400 views or something. I chopped a very considerable branch here with the K-Bar Kukri. I don't like the Combat Kukri. Again, I'm not really, if I had to pick, which I said, a folding knife. I've owned the Cold Steel Spartan. It was a cheaper one. SR1 Light. Bunch of cheap local, what's that called? Sporting good ones. I never had a Spyderco. I would get a stainless Spyderco with a serrated edge. It's because it's very lightweight, and the serrated edge can strike a ferro rod no matter what. Very, very good. It would strike a ferro rod, and it's a freaking pocket knife. But it wouldn't be as great of a. This SE4 feels really good as a feather sticking knife. Really good. I got to admit, the K-Bar Combat Kukri, it should be named the K-Bar Combat whatever. It was like a very cheap, good tracker knife. It was like I don't know why I was obsessed with tracker knives at that time. And I was like, hey, this K-Bar Combat whatever does the same job with more lightweight and carries a good pouch that carries really good shit, like an extra flashlight, multi-tool, whatever, for whatever, guys. So yeah, what else, man? Yeah, it's the same. Actually, to be honest, I cut it down the middle. Sorry, Essie. I love you, Essie. I'm getting your Kukri. I'm trying to. It seems like it's still available right now. Essie Hungless, the regular one at least, seems like it's discontinued. The RTAC whatever from Ontario, whatever the RTAC whatever the I don't know, whatever. If you guys know what that is, that lasted forever, man. And the Essie Hungless is gone, but Three River Blades and Survival, I think that's the channel. he kind of convinced me not to get an SC hungless yet because I like forward heavy choppers, but you're gonna sacrifice if you like well balanced. And what I sacrifice not getting an SC is it would be able to fit underneath my vest here in the sheath. Just fucking go. I wouldn't have to worry about having a Topps Wild Pig sticker and a Work Tough Gear Warhammer. As long as I have something to strike my ferro rod, I would that's ready to go, dude. It's like, I think about scenarios like, what if you're sleeping and someone collapses your tent and you have to cut your way out of it because some prankster is trying to steal your stuff, or worse yet, put their dilly in you, right? You never know, man. So I don't know if anybody said anything. Let me see. I doubt it. It's cool, Zach. I had to take off. I think my tablet died. So, hey, if I missed any of your guys' comments, I really apologize. While I have my glasses on, I'll take one last look. And I'm gonna do some extra massaging. We're gonna listen to some. Everything you hear on KTAM Radio can be found on my playlist of KTAM Radio. Thanks for your patronage, guys. Thanks for supporting me and Joe. Joe's way more exciting and accomplished than me. What the hell was I doing? Oh yeah, trying to read Yun's comments. I appreciate Yun's patronage. There's so many bugs, man. So please pardon that. I'm trying to see, guys. See if anybody. Yeah, see, Zach, you have a really good
not
day.
see, guys. See if anybody. Yeah, see, guys. You have a really good day. Not see, guys.
Excuse me, sorry about that. Zachary mentioned MKC knives. I try to look into them stuffs. I try to look into that. God, Esset, Hakarta, Kukri coming. And after that, I'm God willing, if God's willing, I'm fixing to get the Condor K-Tac Kukri. The reason I'm trying to get a Contact K-Tac Kukri, I realized, so when I had the pig sticker from Topps, I had the apparatus hanging on my leg, but no matter how well I adjusted it, I had this problem excavating or deploying the knife because I was giving myself what they're called a chimera or a hammerlock in pro wrestling, and this shoulder's done, man. I could tell you my sports injuries, whatever. So it's done. So the K-Tac Kukri, it finna come out, off forward line. And then I was watching the video. This feller, he gets attacked by a fucking cougar. Not like how Yuns used to get attacked with me. When's gone cougar hunting. When back in the day we had them long, luscious hair, going to the 80 cover bands cougar ball business. And K-Tac Kukri. I realized the animal is going to attack like your face. You're going to try to have to put your forearm in its grill. It's going to chew on your forearm, right? That's not good, right? Preferably you have like a huge leather heavy metal spike gauntlet, but guess who's going to complain if you're hiking on the designated trails because the government only allows young fellers to do it that way anymore, right? So you gotta be extra massaging and prancing on the designated pathways. That's why you can hear the fucking traffic, right? That's why there's Bigfoot sightings, guys. We finna coming out here for yuns. I'm doing it for yuns. And so guess who's gonna complain if you're hiking with a huge leather spike gauntlet like you're in the band Manowar, right? Karen, of course. The same chick that bitched about Joe X, right? So anyways, that would be chewing on that shit. And you got to remember not to accidentally hack or slice your own arm by taking that K-Tac Kukri and hacking it to its loin regions, Or if you're strong enough and it's sharp enough to put it up next to its neck and go, it's a clash, you know. But I'm not trying to kill critters. You know, hopefully you could deter it, right? But I saw a video, dude got attacked by a cougar, and the handlebars of his mountain bike saved him by putting it in the grill. I've gotten attacked by dogs before. This dog, I love this dog. It survived parvo. It didn't recognize me after like a season, like the weather changed or something. And I was wearing a really thick jacket and it attacked me, and my forearm hurt for like a year. Imagine like the same pain you get from getting kicked in the nuts and a condensed little whatever on the arm. So anyways, yeah. So that's it. I'm not really a knife collector. First I was looking for the most unbreakable knife. Now I'm looking for the best all around knives. I like Ford heavy choppers. That Three Rivers Survival dude has a point. You know, I don't care about well balance. I want a Ford heavy chopper. Tops does a job by, you can always choke back on the handles. You know, I had my favorite Bowie knife is probably still, just because I started training with it, is the AJ Snyder, that Skull Crusher. It can't clear trails, so I ditched it to eventually get something like the Work Tough Gear Warhammer, which I was very fortunate was available. It's not always available, guys, but Work Tough Gear, it seems like they're going more stainless recently. I don't know if I want that. I think I like my high carbon bayonet. I think I like that. Yeah, so what else? Anyways, I got, man, so, you know, like, there's this one channel, I guess I won't mention it. He seems like a cool guy, but I should for my viewers. Like, really, I'd probably do that, put people on blast. Dude striking ferro rod with the kukri I'm a finna get. It don't strike ferro rod, yuns liars. Don't be a lie. I don't lie. Joe Egg don't lie. Why we get in trouble for business? How you doing that? Don't exaggerate shit, man. Just show it how it is. But yeah, so yeah, let's get back to business. I'm gonna finna put some TAAM radio business, and we finna get ready.
Good night.
So let me do stuff. I gotta go back. I gotta go tell Uncle Zorks to get off the toilet and start being my moderator, man. But T from Cold Steel wanted to be Joe X's moderator, but how can anything be moderate about Joe's pants? Yeah, that is right. What's that? That's not Zachary. I can't read that name. It's in Farsi or something. But yeah, so I'll be back, yuns. I'll be back. I'll love you. I'm trying to find stuff, guys. Sorry about that. Is my playlist or what the hell's going on? Give me a second, guys. So, yuns, I'll be back, yuns. This is Black Scout Survival. For news, Joe X is good news. Jacob B. Peterson, his politics seem right fuck on, dude. And right now, yuns, listen to Black Scout Survival. He's fixing to tell yuns that how to be prepared.
When men become weak,
yeah.
Decade, unlike any.
Hold on, yuns. I love
America's entering a new decade, unlike anything we've seen before. A decade of instability, uncertainty, and major global shifts, economically, socially, culturally, and spiritually. Everybody feels it. Most try to deny it, but those who prepare now are going to be the ones who endure when everything around them gets shaky. Tonight, I'm giving you the 10 essential skills every American needs before 2030. The skills that build dangerous, capable, prepared men and women in a collapsing culture. This is not fear. This is preparation. This is discipline. This is becoming hard to kill in a world that's getting soft and confused. And you know, everybody throws around Agenda 2030 like it's just some mean conspiracy on the internet. But let's be real. When you want to pin it on the UN, the World Economic Forum, these agendas converging, centralized control, digital identity, AI governance, climate rationing, all of it. And every single day, it becomes harder to ignore. Okay, behold the pale horse. They warned about this decades ago. Bill Cooper, I've talked about it tons of times. And then Yuri Bezmenov literally told us that once the brainwashing phase is complete, you can put the truth right in front of the people's faces, and they're still going to defend the system that's enslaving them. They'll cling to their man-made savior, usually a politician, no matter how much evidence piles up. And here we are talking about 2028 election cycle. I saw the results today. They're pushing that J.D. Vance will be the most favored candidate. J.D. Vance appeared out of nowhere, manufactured polish, funded by Peter Thiel. The same Peter Thiel heavily involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Now everything starts making sense. Epstein funded Peter Thiel. He also was one of the funding founders of crypto. Okay, so Peter Thiel is not just some guy that just showed up. He's the same billionaire pushing AI surveillance. He's working with the Pentagon. The same network shaping policy behind the scenes. These tech overlords know one thing. The Trump brand is powerful, so they attach themselves to it. People forget. Thiel literally approached Donald Trump with the plan. Make Vance VP and we'll handle the machine. You just sell it. Peter Thiel also heavily funded J.D. Vance's campaigns. And then he told Donald Trump to make him vice president because he knew the Trump brand was strong. He knew that if he served as vice president, that Trump backs him, that he will get it. And Trump did. Meanwhile, I want you to look at the policy shifts that no one is talking about. Okay, continuing Ukraine funding, expanding H-1B visas, soft peddling the Epstein files, backing Lindsey Graham, hosting literal socialists in his orbit, entertaining foreign military presence on U.S. soil, pushing student loan forgiveness, Biden's agenda. That's not America first. That's the same leftist globalist playbook, just wrapped with a MAGA bow. But because the Trump brand is so strong, the cult followers will rationalize it. They'll pretend nothing has changed. They'll line up and vote exactly how they're told to by the guy who told them to. And that's the brilliance of this plan. Vance walks right into the presidency with full support from the base. And the people cheering the loudest won't realize they just ushered in surveillance state that these tech elites have been building for a decade. Peter Thiel has been openly talking about revelation, apocalypse scenarios, end-time government structures. You think that's accidental branding? He just did a course on the Antichrist. No, guys, this is mapped out. In 2030 isn't some distant year on paper. It's 5 years away. The clock is ticking. Your time to get prepared is right now. Number one, situational awareness, a skill that saves you before anything starts, staying frosty. Our culture has produced distracted people who walk through life like NPCs, head down, eyes glazed over, dopamine fried from scrolling TikTok while standing in the middle of a parking lot with both earbuds in. Predators love that, man. Criminals love that. They target the unaware. Situational awareness is not paranoia, it's staying awake in a society that wants you sedated. Situational awareness is more than just looking around. It's understanding behavior. It's reading people. It's recognizing pre-attack indicators. It's sensing tension before it breaks. Most victims never see the threat until it's touching them. Most predators are stopped simply because someone looked them dead in the face with confidence. Rome fell when its citizens got complacent.
What if I told you that an object traveling at 200,000 miles per hour through our solar system just restructured itself in real time, and the physics we use to explain
America's in that no one is talking about. Okay, continuing Ukraine funding, expanding H-1B visas, soft peddling the Epstein files, backing Lindsey Graham, hosting literal socialists in his orbit, entertaining foreign military presence on U.S. soil, pushing student loan forgiveness, Biden's agenda. That's not America first. That's the same leftist globalist playbook, just wrapped with a MAGA bow. But because the Trump brand is so strong, the cult followers will rationalize it.
Let's get right into it. Number 10, frozen yogurt fallacy, frozen yogurt.
Sorry about that, guys. It keeps jumping.
America
Sorry about that.
and Trump did. Meanwhile, I want you to look at the policy shifts that no one is talking about. Okay. Continuing Ukraine funding, expanding H-1B visas, soft peddling the Epstein files, backing Lindsey Graham, hosting literal socialists in his orbit, entertaining foreign military presence on U.S. soil, pushing student loan forgiveness, Biden's agenda. That's not America first. That's the same leftist globalist playbook, just wrapped with a MAGA bow. But because the Trump brand is so strong, the cult followers will rationalize it. They'll pretend nothing has changed. They'll line up and vote exactly how they're told to by the guy who told them to. And that's the brilliance of this plan. Vance walks right into the presidency with full support from the base, and the people cheering the loudest won't realize they just ushered in surveillance state that these tech elites have been building for a decade. Peter Thiel has been openly talking about revelation, apocalypse scenarios, end-time government structures. You think that's accidental branding? He just did a course on the Antichrist. No, guys, this is mapped out. In 2030 isn't some distant year on paper. It's 5 years away. The clock is ticking. Your time to get prepared is right now. Number one, situational awareness, a skill that saves you before anything starts, staying frosty. Our culture has produced distracted people who walk through life like NPCs, head down, eyes glazed over, dopamine fried from scrolling TikTok while standing in the middle of a parking lot with both earbuds in. Predators love that, man. Criminals love that. They target the unaware. Situational awareness is not paranoia, it's staying awake in a society that wants you sedated. Situational awareness is more than just looking around. It's understanding behavior. It's reading people. It's recognizing pre-attack indicators. It's sensing tension before it breaks. Most victims never see the threat until it's touching them. Most predators are stopped simply because someone looked them dead in the face with confidence. Rome fell when its citizens got complacent, comfortable, and America's repeating the same pattern. Being awake puts you in a tiny percentage of people who actually survive contact when real-world violence happens. Tactical tip number one, run the head, hands, exits. Scan everywhere. If you know who's around, what their hands are doing, and where you can bail out, you're already ahead. Keep your chin up, eyes up. People who look aware rarely get targeted. Sit facing the entrance in public places. You're not a damn NPC, act like it. Limit phone usage in transitional spaces. Okay, parking lots, gas stations, doors, escalators. These are ambush zones. Skill number two, violent capability. We're entering a violent era again. Okay, violence never left the world. America just pretended it did. Now it's back on the front page. We have gas station attacks, random assaults, road rage shootings, mob violence, people getting jumped on the subways, on sidewalks, and stores getting unalived everywhere. And the truth is, when evil shows up, you are the first responder, not the cops, not the government, not society. You don't need a black belt. You just need baseline capability, enough to escape, enough to protect your family, and enough to stay alive. A civilization collapses when men become weak spectators instead of active protectors. Rome saw it, so did Weimar, Babylon, every failed empire. We keep watching masculinity be demonized, mocked, and drugged while violence rises. That's a recipe for national dysfunction. They say that, demonizing firearms, demonizing defending yourself. A man just got put away because he defended himself. Literally got attacked, taken to the ground. He shoots the bad guy. He gets 4 years in prison. Just happened. Let me give you some tactical tips. Know how to strike, jab, cross, elbow, knee. Simple, brutal, and effective. Learn one escape for each of these attacks. Rear choke, bear hug, wrist grab, ground mount. One escape per situation can literally save your life. Bruce Lee said that a man who practices one technique 1,000 times is more dangerous than a guy who knows 1,000 techniques. Okay. So, and I've got tons of YouTube videos for free showing a lot of this information, and you can go check that out. Just go through my combatives playlist there. And then carry a blade, okay, that you actually train with, not as a toy, not as a tool. Okay. That's why I always try to have the training blades, so that way you can train this stuff and be ready, be frosty, strapped, and dangerous, okay? Practice controlled aggression. Panic loses fights, intent wins them. Stay strapped at all times. Carry reloads, no tactical shooting, not point shooting or range shooting, but using cover, clearing malfunctions, shooting and moving. Skill number three, I don't think I talk about enough, is physical fitness. Strength is a survival skill. America has engineered weakness, plastics in food, seed oils, replacing real nutrition, sedentary lifestyles, video games, porn, comfort worship, dopamine addiction. I even remember back in the day when you actually had to go up and talk to a girl, ask for a number, take her to dinner if you don't get shot down. Now it's hooking up on Tinder or AI porn. Weakness is profitable. Weakness is controllable. And weakness is the modern religion. But weakness is deadly. In every collapse, historic or modern, the physically capable survive. Physically weak are the first casualties. Fitness is not about aesthetics, although looking like a warrior does help. Fitness is about function. Here's some tactical tips. Number 1, run a mile without stopping. This is your flee or fight baseline. Number 2 is carry 40 to 60 pounds for a mile. Your kid, your partner, your gear, it's your responsibility. Build iron grip strength. This improves fighting, climbing, shooting, everything. And then 4 is do daily calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, bodyweight squats. No excuses. Do the stack. I created the stack. You've probably seen it. If you read my protocols, got it in there. STACK is acronym for strength, tenacity, agility, conditioning, and kinetics. And I'll send an email blast detailing this exercise program if you're signed up for our email. Skill number 4, obviously with Peter Thiel and all these other guys, digital survival. Your phone is either a tool or a tracker. You're living in the most monitored generation in human history. They track your movement, your purchases, your conversations, your habits, your social circle, and your weaknesses. People worry about Big Brother, but forget about big corporations, man, foreign actors and criminals running digital exploitation 24/7. Digital literacy is no longer optional. It's truly mandatory. Number 1, use 2-factor authentication on everything. Your accounts are worth more than your wallet to the criminals, okay? Number 2 is turn off Bluetooth and Wi-Fi when not in use. It stops passive tracking. Number 3 is never share your location in real time, especially with kids. The predators are watching. They see when you're not home. Number 4 is minimize your digital footprint. I teach this deeply in the Gray Man protocols, how to reduce your trace in a world obsessed with tracking you, okay? Also pick up one of our Gray Man Faraday bags so you can go ghost, if you know what I mean, when necessary. Skill number 5 is home defense, layering, okay? Your home must become a fortress. Your home is your castle, but most people treat it like it's a hotel room. No layered security, no reinforced doors, no lighting strategy, no escape plan, no defensive staging. Criminals are not going to knock politely. They're coming fast, aggressive, armed, often with multiple people. Your home must be layered like an onion. Each layer buys you time. Let me give you some tactical tips. Reinforce your door frames and your deadbolts. Cheap upgrades that stop kicks, right? Number 2 is set up motion lights and cameras. People hate being seen when doing dirt. And you can have it real time plugged into your phone so you can watch it happening, okay? And then plan accordingly. Number 3 is have defensive staging point. Where's your weapon, your light, your phone? Know it. Number 4 is practice home walkthroughs at night. No blind spots, corners, choke points. And if you're a commando level member on this channel, you can watch the Watchman Home Security Home Defense film for free here on YouTube. It's something highly produced. We spent a lot of money and time building and we should sell it, but I'm giving it to you for free if you're at commando level. Skill 6, vehicle security and mobility. Most attacks occur at vehicles. Most violence doesn't happen in some Hollywood alleyway. It happens entering your car, exiting your car, getting boxed in at gas stations, in traffic, or during a road rage incident. Your vehicle is a mobile fortress if you treat it that way. Tactical tips: reverse park everywhere. Fast exit saves lives. Number 2 is leave one car link in front of you at stops. Okay, this gives you room to maneuver and avoid being boxed in. Number 3 is conduct a 360 check before entering your vehicle. Look for movement, shadows, lingering people. Number 4 is keep a window breaker, seatbelt cutter immediately accessible. You don't know if you're going to flip that bad boy, wind up upside down, and everything catches fire. You want to be able to get out of it, okay? Skill 7 is financial survival. The economy is shifting hard. This is where people get wiped out. Inflation is real. Debt traps are exploding. They're talking about doing 15 years car loans and mortgages for 50. Wages aren't going up. Digital currency is coming. The middle class is being squeezed to death. It's not fear. It's not a conspiracy. It's just plain math. Financial survival is not about being rich. What it's about is not being controlled. A man in endless debt cannot be free. He can't make decisions. He can't leave a bad situation. And he can't protect his family effectively. Some tactical tips for that is 1, eliminate high interest debt immediately. Okay, debt is bondage. Number 2 is build a 3-month cash buffer. Cash keeps you alive when the system fails. Number 3 is start a small side income or skill-based revenue stream. Survival favors the adaptable. Number 4, study my financial warfare protocol. It trains you to think in crisis economics, preparing for the world we're sliding into. And get the Gray Man protocol. Hiding your financial moves is as important as making them.
Oh no, your girlfriend's dad doesn't like his gift. Maybe there's time to get a deal on something else. Wait,
for the world we're sliding into. And get the gray man protocol. Hiding your financial moves is as important as making them. Skill 8 is emergency medical skills, right? You're your own first responder. Most people will freeze during a medical emergency. Blood scares them. Injuries overwhelm them. They shut down. Panic ensues. But medical emergencies are fast, man. You have minutes, sometimes seconds to act. Knowing basic trauma responses will save lives. Some tactical tips for you. Learn to apply a tourniquet fast. Okay, practice it. Speed matters. Teach your family how to do it. Number 2 is either buy or build a trauma kit. You actually understand, okay? Ours is probably the best, not gonna lie. It's not because we sell it, because we designed it to do so. Me and Mark from Centerline Systems, we put our experience together and built this bad boy. And it can pretty much be mounted anywhere on your belt or whatever. It has all the essentials. And under stress and duress, you can hurry up and pull this big red tab like you're jumping from an airplane, this ripcord, and it shoots the medical gear out. The medical gear is here made by North American Rescue as well, quick clot and all that kind of stuff. And you have your tourniquet there, quickly accessible on the outside of your kit. You don't want some kind of first aid box. Now, first aid boxes are good, but you need a trauma kit. Number 3 is learn CPR and burnout recognition. Saving a life isn't Hollywood, it's repetition. You have to familiarize yourself with it, and it's a skill that will fade away in your mind if you don't keep it up to date. Okay, it's a perishable skill. Get familiar with your field surgical kit as well. Know what each tool does before an emergency. Skill number 9 is crisis decision making. Weak minds die in chaos. When society gets shaky, weak minds disintegrate, man. They panic, they freeze, they shut down, they follow the herd into danger. Strong men and women lead when others collapse. Crisis decision-making is about clarity, calm, and conviction in the middle of the confusion. Some tips for you is make decisions quickly in crisis. Indecision is deadly. Number 2 is train your brain under stress. Okay, cold exposure, hard workouts, breath control. Number 3 is develop a family emergency plan. If shit hits the fan, who calls who? Where do you meet? A plan will save a lot of stress, especially if you practice the plan. Because in that moment, you don't have to think, you don't have to make a decision, it's already been made. Number 4 is build a daily discipline routine. Discipline creates stability, stability creates clarity. All right, skill 10, this is probably the most important one, is spiritual readiness. The collapse is also spiritual. We're seeing that. This is the part society hates to talk about. Every empire collapses spiritually before it collapses physically. Rome drowned in hedonism. Babylon drowned in pride. Weimar drowned in depravity. America is spiritually starving and spiritually confused. But faith is not weakness. A lot of people think it is. Okay. Faith is not pacifism. Faith is not softness. Faith is armor. It's clarity. Conviction. It's the backbone that produces strong men who stand against evil. Even Jesus said, sell your cloak and buy a sword. That wasn't poetry. That was preparation. Some tips for you. Develop a daily spiritual discipline. Prayer, reading, reflection, strong spirit, strong mind. Number 2 is surround yourself with righteous men. Wolves don't run with sheep. Number 3 is stand firm in your values. No matter what culture pushes, no matter what the man in the White House says, a man without conviction is a leaf in the wind. You see them blowing right now. Oh man, we'll forget about the Epstein stuff, all those children, because it's a hoax. You see it happening. Men are just falling on their knees for a man, a politician. Number 4 is lead your family spiritually. A home without spiritual leadership collapses fast. Now, these 10 skills are not suggestions, okay? They are survival. They are the blueprint for being strong, dangerous, capable in a decade that is going to test everybody. The world is changing. The question is whether you change with it or get crushed under it. Don't be soft. Don't be comfortable, complacent. Comfort is the cage they keep you in. They want you in it. Be the outlier, the anomaly. Be the man or woman who trains, thinks, prepares, and stands firm when the world goes unstable. And listen, once you build these skills, you can't stop there. The world is not going to be survived alone. I don't care how tough you think you are. Lone wolves die. Packs endure. You need to build a tribe of like-minded people who actually give a damn about being prepared, being disciplined, and being dangerous in a righteous way. Iron sharpens iron as one man sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17. That's not a cute line on a church coffee mug. That is a battlefield principle. You get sharper by being around other sharpened men. You get better when you're challenged, when somebody holds you accountable, when somebody pushes you to the level instead of enabling your weakness. Your tribe should make you uncomfortable. They should expose the gaps in your skill sets. They should force you to grow. And in the chaos that's coming, skills aren't enough, man. You need people you trust, people that can watch your six, People who share your values and aren't going to fold when the system applies pressure. Because when the surveillance state locks in, when resources get controlled, when movement gets restricted, community will be the only currency that matters. Build your tribe now, sharpen each other now before it's too late, and stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous.
That was Black Scout Survival, brought to you by TAAM Radio, brought to you by What the Wild Things Do. I is not told Squatcho, you is hapless, listening, viewing, sapient creature. This is What the Wild Things Do, TAAM Radio. I love you. Oh, you.
Only you. You gotta love Biscoff. Taxes.
Commercials. A stupid commercial. I hope you still love me. It won't let me fast forward as stupid flies. It won't let me fast. God damn.
Traveling at 200,000 miles per hour through our solar system just restructured itself in real time, and the physics we use to explain comets cannot account for what we are seeing. That is not a theoretical question. That is what happened to interstellar object 3I, Atlas, between November 28th and December 2nd, 2025. I am Avi Loeb, theoretical physicist at Harvard University and founding director of the Galileo project, and I need to show you something that has left my colleagues deeply unsettled. On December 2nd at 1437 UTC, the Nordic Optical Telescope in the Canary Islands captured images that immediately contradicted every prediction we had made about this object's evolution. 3I, Atlas, which had been a diffuse, irregularly shaped body just 4 days earlier, now displayed sharp geometric boundaries, repeating brightness patterns, and what appears to be coherent planar surfaces. This is not a processing error. 3 independent observatories, the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, the Gemini South facility in Chile, and NASA's Hubble Space Telescope, all confirmed the same structural shift within 18 hours of each other. Let me be extraordinarily clear about what makes this unprecedented. Comets do not become more organized after intense heating. They fragment, they disperse, they lose coherence. The thermal stress from approaching the sun at 126 million miles, where 3I, Atlas, reached perihelion on October 30th, should have shattered this object into chaotic debris. Instead, something fundamentally different occurred. The object appears to have shed its outer layers and revealed an interior with mechanical integrity that we have never documented in any natural body. I have spent the last 72 hours analyzing the photometric data with my team at Harvard, and the numbers are unambiguous. The light curve of 3I, Atlas, has transformed from a noisy, irregular pattern into a stable periodic signal with a precision of 0.03 magnitude variation. That level of consistency indicates surfaces that are not random, they are aligned. They are reflecting light in predictable geometries as the object rotates with a newly stabilized period of 4.2 hours. Before perihelion, the rotation was chaotic, tumbling, what we call non-principal axis rotation. After the transformation, it is spinning like a solid body with a fixed axis. That is not what loose rubble does when it loses mass. On November 15th, 2025, when 3I, Atlas, was still 195 million miles from Earth, images from the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii showed a blurred coma extending 124,000 miles in diameter. The boundary between the nucleus and the surrounding gas was indistinct, exactly what we expect from a small icy body sublimating volatiles. By December 3rd, that coma had contracted to just 41,000 miles, and more importantly, the nucleus itself now displays edges, not the soft, eroded contours of a melting snowball, but straight lines, multiple straight lines intersecting at angles that repeat across the visible surface. Dr. Jane Liu, who co-discovered the Kuiper Belt and is now collaborating with the Nordic team, released a preliminary analysis yesterday stating, and I quote, "The geometric features observed are inconsistent with any documented erosion pattern in cometary bodies." She is being diplomatic. What she means is that nature does not carve straight edges into random piles of ice and dust. Not at this scale, not with this precision, and certainly not in the span of 96 hours. The spectroscopic data adds another layer of complexity that my team flagged immediately. Observations from the James Webb Space Telescope on November 27th detected elevated carbon dioxide sublimation at 4.4 million pounds per second. That rate implied the object was losing approximately 10% of its total mass per week, an explosive outgassing event that should have destabilized the entire structure. Yet when JWST observed again on December 4th, the sublimation rate had dropped to 890,000 pounds per second, an 80% reduction. Simultaneously, the surface brightness in the infrared increased by 23% in regions corresponding to the new geometric features. This is where standard physics breaks down. If material is actively venting from the surface, brightness should decrease as dust obscures the nucleus. Instead, we are seeing the opposite: brighter, sharper, more defined surfaces appearing exactly where the most intense outgassing occurred. The simplest explanation, and I stress simplest, is that the outer shell was composed of volatile rich material that vaporized completely, exposing a deeper layer with fundamentally different properties, higher albedo, greater structural integrity, and a composition that reflects infrared radiation more efficiently than the original surface. But here is what troubles me most. The new surfaces are not uniformly bright. Analysis of the rotation phase photometry reveals at least 7 distinct brightness zones, each separated by narrow darker bands that appear linear when accounting for the object's curvature. These bands are only 300 to 500 feet wide based on our resolution limits, yet they extend across observable arcs spanning thousands of feet. In terrestrial geology, we see similar patterns in layered sedimentary rock or in crystalline structures formed under uniform pressure. In both cases, the linearity emerges because the material organizes along planes of minimum energy. The question we must confront is whether interstellar space, across millions of years of cosmic ray bombardment, micrometeorite impacts, and thermal cycling between star systems, can preserve such ordered internal structure in a small body less than 1 mile in diameter. Our models of cometary formation in protoplanetary disks suggest that these objects are heterogeneous aggregates, loosely bound mixtures of ice, silicate, dust, and organic compounds. They are not crystalline. They are not layered in ways that produce coherent geometry when exposed. Yet, that is exactly what we are observing. I must emphasize that I am not claiming this is artificial. I am stating that the behavior does not match our current understanding of how natural interstellar objects evolve. And when data contradicts theory, we have a responsibility to examine both possibilities. The theory is incomplete, or the object is not entirely natural. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has been conspicuously silent. On December 5th, I submitted a formal data request to access the full resolution images captured by the Deep Space Network's radar observations of 3I Atlas conducted between November 30th and December 1st. Those observations have a spatial resolution of approximately 250 feet, sufficient to resolve the surface features directly, rather than inferring them from brightness variations. As of this morning, I have received no response. The standard processing time for such requests is 48 hours. It has now been 72. When I reached out to colleagues at JPL privately, the response was evasive. One senior mission scientist, who I will not name because they requested confidentiality, told me that internal review protocols are being applied due to the unusual nature of the findings. That phrase, unusual nature of the findings, is not standard scientific language. It is bureaucratic deflection. What findings could justify withholding data from the broader astronomical community during the narrow observational window we have before this object fades beyond detection? Let me walk you through what happened structurally. Before perihelion, 3I, Atlas exhibited what we call a diffuse scattering profile. Light reflected from the surface was distributed broadly, indicating either a rough, porous texture or a surrounding dust cloud obscuring the nucleus. The images were fuzzy, not because of telescope limitations, but because the object itself lacked sharp boundaries. On November 11th, processed frames from the Nordic Optical Telescope showed the coma expanding symmetrically at 310 miles per day, forming what observers called a ghost shell, a faint ring of gas and dust surrounding the core. By November 28th, that shell had dissipated almost entirely. The coma thinned, and for the first time, we could see the nucleus clearly. What we saw was still irregular, still chaotic, still consistent with a fragmenting comet. Then, over the next 4 days, something changed. The irregularity resolved into structure. Edges appeared, brightness zones aligned with rotational phase. The overall silhouette became coherent. Dr. David Jewett at UCLA, who has studied more comets than perhaps anyone alive, reviewed the transformation sequence and made a statement that stunned me. He said, "If I did not know this was an interstellar object, I would assume these were images of two different bodies." He is right. The before and after profiles are so distinct that if we encountered them separately, we would classify them as different objects entirely. The jets provide additional evidence that the interior is not uniform. On November 13th, observations from the Virtual Telescope project in Italy recorded at least 7 separate jets emanating from 3I, Atlas, distributed asymmetrically across the surface. This is typical for comets. Sunlight hits random patches, volatiles sublimate, jets form wherever the surface is weakest. This is typical for comets. Sunlight hits random patches, volatiles sublimate, jets form wherever the surface is weakest. However, after the transformation, the jet distribution changed. By December 3rd, imaging from the European Southern Observatory showed only 4 jets, but each one was aligned with the newly visible geometric boundaries. This alignment is significant. If the jets are responding to structural features, it means outgassing is no longer random. It is being channeled along preferred pathways, either because the surface has developed fissures that guide material flow, or because the interior possesses some form of mechanical anisotropy, a directional strength that concentrates stress along specific planes. Both explanations require an internal structure far more organized than a loose aggregate of ice and dust. I want to address the speculation directly. Some observers have noted that portions of the new surface resemble what they describe as panels or tiles, flat regions separated by narrow gaps. These descriptions have circulated widely on social media, often accompanied by claims that the object is clearly artificial. I must be precise here. Visual similarity is not evidence. Minerals, especially those formed under pressure, routinely produce flat cleavage planes and sharp edges when fractured. Ice crystallizing in microgravity can form geometrically regular structures. Even some asteroids, when imaged at high resolution, display unexpected linearity in surface features due to internal stress relief.
You gotta love Biscoff. When the sawdust settles.
What makes three eyes different is not the appearance of geometry alone, but the fact that this geometry emerged suddenly after the object was subjected to extreme thermal stress. Natural processes can create order, but they typically do so over geological timescales or during formation, not in 96 hours during active sublimation. However, there is a physical mechanism that could explain this spontaneous self-organization in systems far from equilibrium. When materials are heated rapidly, internal stresses build up. If the material has layered or composite structure, releasing those stresses can cause realignment into configurations of lower energy. Crystals do this, minerals under tectonic pressure do this, and certain ices, when subjected to thermal.
But if there are any like commentators, people who talk about this stuff, okay, I very much want.
Well, today on Redacted, we've got an important conversation to share with you. I spoke this morning with Russian spokesperson Maria Zakharova. Now, she's the official spokesperson for Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. And I'll say this, she didn't hold back. We covered the Russian economy, the war in Ukraine, Western propaganda, the jaw-dropping $200 billion fighter jet deal that Ukraine and the EU right now are trying to push through. So I want to give you kind of the full picture of what she told me and what other reporters who were there as well. So I started by asking her about the big phony narrative that you've probably heard everywhere in Western media, that Russia is running out of fuel and that their economy is in shambles. This story has been running around over the past few weeks, that Vladimir Putin's war machine may finally be running out of fuel. She laughed at that, of course. She called it completely fabricated. And according to her, Russia has been able to reroute its energy exports to new partners, China, India, the Middle East, and is doing just fine. She said that we in the West probably have no idea how massive the sanctions against Russia actually are, because that's largely been kept from us. She said they're coping and they've made new partnerships. And she said, we've been coping really well. And she said, look, it's been difficult, but we've been coping. So she was open about that. She said, we are a resilient people. And she said, there's absolutely no fuel shortage. There's no truth to that. No crisis, no collapse happening inside of Russia. She said they've also had to learn how to deal with the massive amount of Western sanctions and the massive amount of Western media lies about Russia. She said Western headlines are nothing but psychological warfare aimed at keeping Western audiences in the dark and convinced that sanctions are working. So she shot down those lies. I've separately confirmed this with other sources who've told Redacted there are no fuel shortages happening, so separate from the official spokesperson. Then we moved on to talk about Ukraine's massive fighter jet deal. So Zelensky signing deals with France and Sweden. I think yesterday, actually, the French one was a letter of intent or a letter of memorandum to push forward with these hundreds of jets from the French government, on top of the roughly 150 or 100 that might come from Sweden specifically. This deal is reportedly, so that's basically like 300 advanced jets, 300 of them. Do they have 300 incredible pilots in Ukraine at this point? I'd like to know that. But anyway, this deal is reportedly close to $200 billion. Ukraine doesn't have that money at all. So the EU is essentially lending Ukraine money, even though everyone knows that Ukraine can't pay it back. And oh, by the way,
and Europe doesn't have it.
Europe can't afford it either. Exactly. When I asked her about this, her answer was blunt. She said these fighter jets will be destroyed the moment they enter Ukraine, period. She basically said, Clayton, why even ask that question? They will be destroyed immediately. And she called it, see, I think, it's like you're talking to a Western journalist here, but I understand it because, we've been covering this for years. I think, the way that she said it was like, hey, the West doesn't understand that this is like an existential threat for us. That money and this is all money and a political stunt designed to make Western leaders look like they're doing something in Ukraine, even though it won't change the facts on the ground at all. She said no amount of new jets will alter the outcome of this war. This was one of the strongest statements that she made. She said, you have to understand this is an existential threat to Russia. This is about our sovereignty. So these jets will be destroyed. Which is kind of, I mean, like you're tracking these shipments, right, coming in from Sweden and France. You know where these jets are going to wind up. They're going to be destroyed almost immediately. They have very few air defenses. So this, of course, is an effort to shore up their air defenses in Ukraine. Microplastics infiltrating every part of our lives. Scientists estimate we now consume a credit card's worth of plastic every single week. It's not delicious. You get it through your food, you get it through your water, you get it through your air that you breathe. One study found plastic particles in 100% of the human lung samples that they sampled. Nobody is safe from exposure. But there is good news because new studies show that, in fact, you can actually take in basic natural products like kimchi and have it eliminated from your body. You can actually get rid of this stuff right from your body. And that's the beauty of trying kimchi. And our friends from Brightcore have created something called Kimchi One, because a lot of people maybe don't like the taste of kimchi. Unlike me, I love it. Philip loves it, but a lot of people are like, I don't like that smell. Now you can take it in supplement form. It's packaged with over 900 probiotic strains unique to kimchi and proven to break down BPA, helping you detox from the inside out. It doesn't just support digestion, it helps protect your cells, your brain, your hormones, and your future. Your body was never designed to handle plastic, but your gut was designed to protect you. So right now you can get 25% off. Just go to mybrightcore.com/redacted. I take it every morning as part of my supplements. Yes, I am. That's why I'm so healthy. You're looking at the model of health right here. And for an even better deal, the best thing is you can call our friends. Imagine that, an American company that actually wants to talk to you on the phone, and you'll get up to 50% off and free shipping. That phone number is 888-404-6312. One of the other things we talked about that I asked the Russian spokesperson today is all about the economy. I asked Maria Zakharova also about the Western narrative that Russia is on the ropes economically. Zakharova pushed back on that hard. She said Russia has stabilized its domestic industries, expanded imports and exports through new partnerships, adapted to sanctions faster than the West expected. And according to her, the storyline that Russia is collapsing is purely for like Western consumption. It's not based in reality. The streets are busy, the stores are busy and full. And she said these narratives are used to basically justify endless spending packages for Ukraine. Her argument that the West needs the public to believe Russia is desperate, basically in order to keep funneling billions of dollars into this massive machine that's not working. Finally, I asked her about the corruption inside of Ukraine. And the thing Western media aggressively avoids talking about, of course, and ignores. Last week, we reported here on the show that Zelensky's inner circle was caught stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from U.S. taxpayers and EU taxpayers. They found cash, huge like boxes of like $100 bills and plastic wrap and euros in the homes, in duffel bags, in these officials' homes who were like the right-hand man of Zelensky. Luxury villas, luxury cars, oligarchs essentially getting richer while the country crumbles. I asked her directly about it. She said Viktor Orban is absolutely right. The Hungarian leader, says Ukraine has become, in her words, a mafia-style money laundering operation. The West is pouring billions into this country, and those billions are being siphoned off through layers of corruption. She described it with an analogy to apples. So I was like, where are you going with this apples analogy? But she said, if you run a market and you've got apples, you start off your day to sell your apples, you know that you've got 100 apples. At the end of the day, you've sold 30 of them. You have an inventory, so you keep track of the products that you're selling. She said the United States and the EU basically aren't counting the apples at all. They have no idea the amount of weapons and money that have flowed into Ukraine through this massive money laundering operation. It's just blind spending, she said. She said the American people have no clue this is happening because the media, of course, refuses to cover it. But she said Viktor Orban of Hungary was correct that Ukraine is essentially a mafia-style money laundering operation. Oh, and she confirmed that Putin has not received any framework for peace talks from the EU or the United States, so nothing right now. So this war continues as we head into the winter months and into Christmas time. So that is our update on that.
I wish U.S. politicians would answer questions as direct as she did. Like, could you imagine any U.S. politician or any U.S. leader answering the way she did? Like, she even brought up Orwell. I was very impressed with her.
Yeah, no, she was not pulling any punches, and go ahead, Philip.
Well, we get things like, well, let me be absolutely clear on this, and then like nothing really of import after that, or we just saw the Pam Bondi, one of my favorites, information came out, we have information.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
We're
great.
gonna have to save that one. I mean, it was gold.
Yeah, information. We've got information. But
Can I have it? No.
But she did like dance around it when I asked her about these new fighter jets that are going to be delivered to Ukraine. She's like, they will be destroyed immediately. Like, you could just picture a Russian lady saying that. No, they will be destroyed immediately. Why are you even sending them? Like, I was asking her, like, what does President Putin say about this NATO involvement here? Like, you're facilitating these large weapons deals into Ukraine. Like, what? Oh, they're going to be destroyed immediately. Like, this is an existential threat to our country. And the same we would do if someone was sending, 150 fighter jets into Mexico. Like, we would just bomb the hell out of them. I mean, we're bombing fishing boats that are thousands of miles away. So that's what we would do. All right. So that was my discussion with Vladimir Putin's spokesperson and the spokesperson from the Kremlin today.
Finger pricking can be. The Glucomax changes everything. It's a needle-free glucose meter boasting 99
sources and methods. Okay. No one cares what you were doing with that guy outside of the topic of exactly what we're actually asking about. So if he was some kind of top secret whatever, and he was going into Harvard, and he was going into these universities, and he was getting these mathematical equations from these people, and he was passing them off to or the CIA, whatever. We don't care about that, okay? Keep that source and method. But when it comes to the thing we're talking about, nah, dude, no. Sources and methods, unacceptable answer. Unacceptable. There's no world where the government that I elect is entrapping little girls. So this is a video I'm going to ask you to bear with me on, because we got a lot of stuff related to the files that is coming out. We've got a bunch of heroes that are stepping up in a major way, a lot less of them than there are of the scoundrels. And there's a lot of very, very shady stuff going on, real shady. And I'm going to point you in the direction of all of it, okay? Because as this happens in a democratic nation, you can't keep a lid on a thing when the entire voting population wants the same thing. And if you have not realized, this right here, okay, the files right here is the reason that they spend so much time and energy making sure that people like Jank and people like fill in the blank person on the right think that they don't like each other when they agree on so much, okay? That is the entire reason that they do this, is because right now, okay, one issue that you cannot get away from, regardless of which side you're on, politically, is like, none of us are going to allow you to openly victimize people, okay? Especially these ones. And so when you're trying to put a lid on this thing, none of us are going to accept it. And so against the will of these people in power, this is going to happen, right? At least you think it's going to, okay? Like, we're going to force their hand, and they're still not going to show us. And that's what this video is ultimately going to be about. There's a lot of different stuff coming up here, okay? But bear with it, because I'm going to go off on a lot of tangents. The madder I am, the more, every time, dude. If I'm mad, my videos are awesome, okay? This topic really pisses me off. I'm in a really bad mood about it. And so I would encourage you to stick around, because I'm going to make some really good points, and I am going to be very upset about this. So let's get into it. All right. So I'm sure you guys have heard the bill to release the Epstein file has passed the House, and there is nothing to be excited about, though. Okay. I just want to be very clear about that. There is no reason for anybody to be excited about this, because what this has actually shown is how deep the corruption goes in this government, because we're not going to see anything. And I'm going to show you exactly how I know that, because they're already telling us that this right here, you see this post? Okay. This is exactly what we're going to get. Okay. This is a joke. Obviously, they're making a joke, but that's not a joke. And they are telegraphing that as they come out and make public statements. So you have all these people like, yep, listen. And I want to be clear about this, dude. Okay. I am certainly including Trump in the group that I'm talking about, but I'm also including other Republicans who are pretending that they care about what's in these files, okay? You know who's not pretending? Okay. As a matter of fact, I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you exactly who you can rest assured is not pretending when they say that they care about the victims and they care about what's in the files. Because if you want to know how you can be sure that your read on someone is correct when you say that's a person who really cares, show me something who sacrificed. Show me someone who sacrificed something in order to do the right thing. You know? Because if what it requires to do the wrong thing is to sacrifice nothing, and you appear like you're doing the right thing, but it's very obvious that you're not doing that, okay? The way I know that is because you've sacrificed nothing. You pretended, okay? Now, a person who said all along they're trying to do the right thing, and it cost them something big. Well, that's a person who has earned my respect. Now, in the long run, when you're on the right side of a thing, and you're always on the right side of a thing, okay, the people are going to know. In many cases, not in all cases, of course, but in cases like this where everyone is unified on this, like literally everyone there. And I want to keep on harping on that as we get into this story, that the idea that there is any kind of split in the population and the actual like electorate on the release of these files, anyone who's telling you there's any split on that is either lying to you or is seeing things that I have not seen. And I would encourage you guys to send all of those things. Listen, if there is a single influencer, I'm not talking about politicians, I know they're compromised, right? And the ones who aren't are making themselves very obvious right now, as we're going to get into. But if there are any like commentators, people who talk about this stuff, okay? I very much want you to show me those people who are saying we should not release these files. Just show them to me. Like, who are they? Because I have not seen a single person, okay? Now, this is weird for me, the fact that I have a thing like this up on my screen, a legislative vote, okay? I very intentionally like stay away from just straight up politics. I'm not, you know what I mean?
That's just
like, I don't like it. I'm not interested in that. I was never trying.
Can you still help me if I don't have all my tax documents together? I'm missing a lot of things. The short answer is 100%.
All right, good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to another short war video. And today we have very big news to cover out of Ukraine, Russia, Thailand, and the EU. So let's jump right into it. This morning, we have received disturbing news that a British soldier has been killed in Ukraine under very strange circumstances behind the lines, as British forces have begun investigating the death, and we are awaiting more details about the situation. Meanwhile, Lithuania has declared a nationwide state of emergency over airspace incursions from Belarus using smuggler balloons and other objects disrupting airports around the country. And we also have news that Putin's ordered a massive military training for reserve forces as he vows to finish the goals of the special operation, as Zelensky boldly rules out any attempt to concede land to Putin. And we also have news out of Thailand that fighting has increased along the front line as Thai forces launched devastating airstrikes on the capital cities of border provinces. So we have very big news to cover today from around the world. In fact, a very big news. So let's jump right into our first article, which goes to us on Twitter at It's the Enforcer. And right now we're hearing a very disturbing story out of Ukraine, actually. And we're hearing this from the UK government, in fact. We're hearing that Britain says one of its soldiers has been killed in Ukraine, and the details are sort of vague about it. And it's a very, very odd occurrence, and we have really never heard of this happening really before. So here is the statement from the Ministry of Defense out of the UK. They say, "It is with deep regret that we must announce that a member of the UK Armed Forces died in Ukraine this morning on Tuesday, the 9th of December, and he was injured in a tragic accident whilst observing Ukrainian forces test a new defensive capability away from the front lines, and the family's been notified and our thoughts are with them at this sad and difficult time." So first off, my condolences to the family, by the way. Of course, this is a tragic event that's occurred right here, but to get into the details of it, they say it's away from the front lines, and they're saying it was during an observation of a defensive capability, which is pretty vague. We're not really sure what that means, but this is what we're hearing right now. So obviously speculation is all over the board as to how this occurred and what led to this. Nobody's really sure right now, but that is a very big story. We're waiting on more details about this right here, because we're being told that the UK is investigating the death to find out exactly what occurred in this incident. So not good. And also, once again, a very bad tragedy that we're hearing about out of Ukraine right now. So not good. But jumping into our next post here, this one's going to go to Null Reports, and we have a very big story right now about Lithuania area that is really gaining some steam. Because we are hearing that Lithuania has now declared a nationwide state of emergency over smuggling balloons launched from Belarus, and the Interior Ministry says the balloons pose a threat to national security and disrupt civil aviation, even forcing delays at Vilnius Airport, which is one of their flagship airports. And the new status allows faster response and military involvement and will be reassessed in a month. So you can see right here at the bottom, there's some sort of package attached to the bottom of it right there. And we've been told before that maybe it's cigarette smuggling. Apparently it's a big thing in the Baltic states. And we're not really sure though, but there's these packages right here at the bottom of these very large balloons. So at least according to the statement, this will allow a faster military response now that this state of emergency has been declared. However, if I recall correctly, I don't believe that Lithuania shot down any of these balloons before. So unless they're going to start shooting some of these things down, I'm not really sure what that's going to change. But as we can see here, a state of emergency, that's a very big step, at least symbolically, to deal with this situation right here. And this Belarus situation is actually getting really out of hand with these balloons pretty much going almost every other day across the border at this point into very sensitive areas like airports, etc. So not good on that front either. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to War Translated. Also, we have some pretty big news right now diplomatically out of Russia. We are hearing new statements from Vladimir Putin where he is committing to once again finish this war by force of arms. And Putin says Russia will undoubtedly bring the special military operation to its logical conclusion. And meanwhile, remember, like War Translated mentions, the U.S. administration is convinced that Putin wants peace and Ukraine is a troublemaker. So we have literally proof right here in video that came out today of Putin saying that he is going to finish this war, hell or high water. He's going to be finishing this war by force of arms. So let's take a listen to it and see literally the U.S. position getting disproven by Putin himself right here in this video. Let's take a look.
Вынуждены делать это вооруженным путем. И мы, безусловно, доведем это дело до логического завершения, до достижения цели специальной военной операции.
So there you have it. You couldn't get any more clear than that. He said we are compelled to do this by force of arms, and he is going to finish the special military operation. So I'm not sure how much more clear you can get than that. That is literally spelling it out word by word. So the peace deals are all, folks. If there's any hope in hell of a peace deal happening, it is definitely not happening now. Putin is saying he's going to finish the war, and Zelensky is saying he's not going to concede land. So any U.S. efforts in between that is simply delusional and playing games, and that's pretty typical at this point. But that's what we're hearing right now out of Putin's own mouth. But jumping into our next post here, this one also goes to us on Twitter at @IsTheEnforcer. And just a reminder real quick, we're hearing even wilder statements come from some of Putin's top political advisors. And Enforcer covered this yesterday during the short war video. But just to remind you, though, that one of the top political advisors, Sergei Karaganov, said this war won't end until we defeat Europe. That's what he's saying. And he is one of the main people in Putin's inner circle. So that is a wild statement right there. And that's just basically saying exactly what we've been saying for a long time. And it's coming straight out of the Russians' mouth this time. So I'm not sure how much more clear it can get that the Russians are hell-bent on causing World War III at this point. They're literally saying it. So I would say we should take them at their word and believe them on this and actually deal with it appropriately. But that's what we're seeing right now, just to cover that one more time of what this individual right here said about the whole situation about Europe. But jumping into our next post here, this one's going to go to Max25. And we can see right here in this post that the peace-loving Putin has now signed a new decree on the call-up of Russians in reserve for military training in 2026. And right here is that decree. As you can see, it says at the top, it says decree, President of the Russian Federation, and it says on the conscription of citizens on the Russian Federation, the reserves in 2026. It said they will basically start calling up all the reserves to undergo military training during the start of next year. So that includes pretty much all of the security forces in Russia. They will be undergoing training. And this right here does not indicate that Putin wants to bring the war to an end. In fact, it indicates that he's actually ramping it up going into next year. So once again, all signs point to war is on the horizon, and it's not going to be a peace deal. So that's what we're seeing once again, literally being signed by Vladimir Putin as well. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to Null Reports. And meanwhile, while Putin's calling up reserves, we've also seen that Ukraine has put the salami on the Russians once again. We have seen that Ukrainian long-range drones have struck the Russian city of Cheboksary overnight, and footage shows the moment of the impact, but the full extent of the damage is still being clarified. But let's take a look here. It looks like Cheboksary was hit very, very hard last night by the Ukrainians. Let's take a look at our videos.
Guitar Center is your one-stop shop for unique gifts. And with 48-month financing on top brands, you can stay on budget and win big this holiday season. Impress them with something they'll truly love at Guitar Center.
One of the things that drives me to this type of work is just being able to influence a bigger impact, and having this new role is definitely an opportunity for that.
Oh, that sounds like trouble. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, wow. He's panicking. Oh, wow. He's really going off there. But as you can see, though, I'm going to go ahead and mute him. He's really panicking. That thing literally exploded right down there at the bottom. That explosion was so large, it caused the camera to glitch. It literally had a pause right there as the impact occurred. And notice there's already a police car down there. Notice that. There appears to be some type of response going on before the strike actually occurred, which is interesting. So there you can see it. A very big hit here in Cheboksary by the Ukrainian forces. But let's take a look at our second video of the same attack. Oh, wow. And as you can see, this one's actually kind of yellow looking. You don't want to see yellow on a battlefield. It's a bad color right there. You don't want to see that. But muting the guy again, we can see right there, there are some impacts in the distance. For some reason, it's yellow. Not really sure why. Maybe it's just the sun reflecting off of it or something. Not really sure. But as you can see, though, it's not looking good out there, whatever that is. Very bad look. But Cheboksary, big trouble there. But jumping into our next post, this one goes to Spravdi Stratcom Center. And we are getting another wild report right here that another popular Russian military blogger is now calling out the Putin regime, which is very unusual in Russia, by the way, because if you call out the Putin regime, that usually calls you out in such a bad way that you end up getting in some deep hot water over it. If you know what I'm trying to say here, they get in some very deep trouble, very, very serious. But as you can see here, another popular blogger has gone off the script, blaming the regime for the lies that brought them into the war. And this blogger right here, another Russian military expert, and also apparently an editor of a magazine, is now saying that some of the details that led them in the war was not what it seemed to be, which also follows on the heel of a major former Russian general saying the exact same thing on a different podcast. And it seems to be this is gaining some traction and steam right here. So I'm not really sure if this is something the Russians are doing on purpose to maybe try to soften the blow of a major change in the war coming up. It could be that. But I would tend to believe that this is something right here that Putin has not endorsed whatsoever, because it basically makes him look like an idiot. So this is interesting right here. I'll be curious to see what happens to these individuals saying this, because typically in the past, Putin has really gone hard on these people for even mentioning this whatsoever. But let me know down in the comments below. Do you think there will be some type of massive change in Russia, like, for example, some form of light revolution or maybe an uprising against Putin? Or will these people right here be taken care of by the Putin regime and pretty much silenced? Let me know down in the comments below what you think about that whole situation. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Preston Stewart. And we've also seen the Russians moving through the mud near Konstantinivka. And right now, the mud is bad. It is literally the Rasputitsa season right now. It is terribly bad. And this is probably the worst fighting conditions you could find in, pretty much. So let's take a look here at these Rodniks getting pulled out of the mud, and it is a sight. I mean, a mess and a half. But let's take a look. Oh, and would you look at that? I mean, look how deep that mud is. There's literally like treads and tracks all through the mud right there. And they're trying to pull that busted looking car up right there with a Bahanka over there in the distance. So they're just dragging that thing out. Let me go ahead and back that up a little bit. Just dragging that thing out of the mud. These are terrible fighting conditions, by the way. And this is why during the winter months and during the Rasputitsa, you start to see that there's really not any progress being made on the front lines by either side. That's because of the mud. And that's what we're seeing right here in this video. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Clash Report. And right here in this post, we have some very big diplomatic news coming from Zelensky himself about the negotiations between the United States and Russia. And we are hearing from Zelensky. He says the U.S. peace plan has been reduced from 28 to 20 points, but the Americans want to find compromises. But when it comes to territories, there are no compromises on territories. So to put this in simple terms right here, Zelensky is saying the Ukrainian constitution does not permit him to give away land of the Ukrainian territories to the Russian Federation. And he is blatantly ruling that out right here in the statement that he made, I guess, to U.S. officials. But this is a very good sign, in my opinion, because we were worried that maybe Zelensky was going to be forced to cave in and give away territories to Russia because he needed the aid from the United States. But it's starting to look like that is changing very, very rapidly. And moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to us on Twitter once again. And our current assessment is that we are 99% confident that during the meeting with the Coalition of the Willing yesterday between Merz of Germany, we got Starmer of the UK, we've gotten Macron of France, and also Zelensky, obviously, we are confident that they all gave Zelensky guarantees that Europe will have Ukraine's back, even if the United States attempts to betray them. And in my opinion, that is why Zelensky is now openly refusing to concede territory to Russia. We did see here a statement from Merz of Germany. He said, Ukraine's fate is Europe's fate, and we're here to see how we can step up our efforts, and no one should have any doubt our support will not falter. So I'm glad to see the Europeans are not confused about who they should support, and that's very good news right there. And it looks like Europe will be behind Ukraine 100%, even if the U.S. goes wonky and decides to start playing games and chumming up with our enemies. So that's a good sign right there. But jumping into our next post, we have even a better sign coming out right here. We are hearing rumors that an agreement to release up to 100 billion euros of frozen Russian assets in Europe to Ukraine could be announced within mere days, according to the UK Starmer. And we've also heard that after a meeting between the leaders of France, Germany, Britain, and Ukraine, the British government sources expressed optimism that the deal was a matter of days and could be announced very soon. So we're hearing that there's about 8 billion pounds frozen in British banks. There's also some more being held inside of France, and it sounds like Belgium is still not giving in, but between all the other European countries, they have a lot of money sitting around, about 100 billion pounds actually, not euros, but pounds in their possession. So that could cause Putin to go berserk if that is liquidated, but at the same time though, if the US starts betraying Ukraine, then that would be pretty much the lifeline that Ukraine needs to be able to survive at that point. So it may become necessary to ensure that those assets are liquidated to ensure that Ukraine can survive. So very good news right there, and hopefully that does happen, even though it may lead to some sort of escalation with Russia. That may be Ukraine's only chance for survival in the near future. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to Nexta. Also, this one right here is for all the people out there that may be Russian bots or maybe people that are on the fence. This is how Russia treats their people, by the way, folks, so listen up closely. Moscow has greeted the deported. Just for context here, there was a flight leaving the United States taking deported Russians back to Russia, and apparently once that plane got on the ground, the Russians showed up to greet these people deported back to Russia and immediately said, you're going to the meat grinder, here's your draft notice. That's what they told them. And according to Dmitry Valyuev of Russian American for Democracy in Russia, there were several dozen people on board, from asylum seekers to those who were denied protection to those who violated U.S. visa rules. And this flight went all the way to Russia, and these individuals right here are now apparently getting interrogated and also detained and then sent to the front lines. So Russia is just such a fair country, folks. The people out there have been saying that we have it all wrong. It's actually the Ukrainians that are evil, and the Russians are just misunderstood people. But the only thing misunderstood about Russia is how evil their government is toward their own people, and they treat their own people like absolute dogs. So for all the people out there that want to say that Russia is somehow a great country has been misunderstood, I would say you're delusional. Go get some help. But jumping into our next post here, this one goes to open source intel. Meanwhile, we've gotten some very big news out of Thailand and Cambodia. Right now, that war is ramping up even worse than it was before it got solved, allegedly, by U.S. officials. Right now, we're hearing the United States is finally weighing in on this failure, and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio is saying the United States is concerned by ongoing fighting and casualties along the Cambodia-Thailand border, and both sides should immediately cease hostilities, protect civilians, and return to the de-escalatory measures outlined in the Kuala Lumpur peace accords. Now notice, the U.S. is taking the same old approach even in this conflict. They are saying, look, both of you guys, calm down, take it easy. Even though there's clearly a side that's in the wrong here, and I'm sure the U.S. has that intelligence in their possession, they are just giving a general statement of, listen, guys, calm down. But obviously, there was root causes of that conflict that was not addressed before that ceasefire was agreed to. Also notice they're not really mentioning the fact that the ceasefire here was brokered by the United States and it's been now broken and now it's failed. They're really not mentioning that very much. But this whole situation right here is bound to get out of control even worse. And the U.S. is obviously not very sure how to handle it now that it's failed. So very interesting. But moving on to our next post here, this one also goes to open source intel. And we've seen that the fighting has gotten so bad that now Cambodian media is saying that Thai fighter jets are now bombing the city of Samarang, which is apparently the capital of the Udar Menchay province. And videos are now posted online showing a plume of smoke arising from the city. And these strikes are big for one reason. These are the capitals of these provinces inside of Cambodia. So that shows you you, Thailand is definitely ramping up the escalations when it comes to their strikes, and they're striking areas that are more critical and crucial than previously seen before. So let's take a look at the video.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is Taxes.
Go to tax quotes, guys.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love did to me 12 righteous lightning, 11 days.
So right there, you can see him going to beat the fellow in the background. But as you can see right there, there is a huge plume of smoke right there coming from a capital of a province near the border. And it looks like these F-16 strikes by the Thailand military are actually going quite well, at least according to what we're seeing right now. Once again, Cambodia does not really have an air force, so they don't have any type of air dominance over their own airspace. And the Thai pretty much have free reign to go hit whatever they want to hit. So that's why the Cambodians are getting slammed. So, you know, Cambodia generally leans toward the Chinese side of influence, and Thailand generally leans toward the United States side of influence. So I'm not really sure what Cambodia is expecting here, because it does not benefit Cambodia whatsoever to get this war started again. Whoever started it, we're not really sure, but Cambodia is going to take a thrashing to say the least, and they're currently taking one right now, as you can see right there in that video. But moving on to our next post here, this one goes to Conflict Radar. We've also seen some more footage here that the Cambodian military has responded by launching the BM21 rockets toward Thailand, and we actually have the video here showing the rockets being fired off by the Cambodian military as they were en route back to Thailand. And also, by the way, I want to note that Thailand is currently alleging that Cambodia is launching massive rocket strikes into civilian populated areas. And previously, before this thing had a ceasefire in place, we had seen that the Cambodians had launched many attacks into areas where civilians were at. They even struck a 7-Eleven at one point. So the Cambodians are huge and very big into indiscriminate fire, and some even speculate that maybe it's on purpose, but we don't have any proof of that right now. So let's take a look and see the Cambodians firing their rockets back at Thailand. So as you can see there are tons of rockets. The streaks across the sky, they're firing tons of them actually. There goes even some more right there. So as you can see, the Cambodians are firing back, but once again, their capabilities are limited since they don't have an air force, but they are returning fire back toward the Thai side. And once again, the war is escalating quite rapidly. But with that, we're moving into our next post here, which goes to Visegrad 24. And we've also seen generally a map showing where all the conflicts are currently taking place on the border between these two countries. We've seen violent clashes are ongoing at several points along the border, and violence has expanded to 6 provinces in northeastern Thailand and 5 provinces in Cambodia's north and northwest. So taking a look here at the map, you can see all the different points in which the fighting is currently taking place. And we're being told that some casinos are getting hit. I guess when they hit the casino, I guess the coins jump out of it like Mario or something like that. But you can see here that there's tons of fighting along the border. And once again, a tragic scenario where this war has once again restarted. But it was predictable. We said that was going to restart a while back. But not trying to go through that whole spill again. But as you can see, though, the fighting is getting much, much worse. But with that, folks, that is actually our last piece of news of the video. So if you've enjoyed the video, smack that like button before you go. That does help the channel tremendously, and thank you all for smashing that like button. Also, by the way, if you want to get up-to-date real-time news just like this video right here every single day, press the subscribe button. Subscribing to the channel sends you notifications.
This is Nacho Squatcho KTAM Radio. I love yous. I will find something to listen to.
TAAM radios, KTAM 1095 MF.
Why'd I do that?
Knife Tomahawk Axe and Machete Radio. The forgotten dimension of the second A _ all God-fearing persons willing to war for freedom. This is your beacon station. KTAAM Radio.
This is Desert on Fire. I hope that he's political neutral, as he say.
Filming a video about the new 99.9% verified threat against Candazoans that is like, I cannot believe what I just covered in my last video. But I was like, you know what? I want to do one more today, you know, so let me just see what I can find, right? Let me just see what I can find. I'm probably going to drop the Candace one in the morning. Well, who knows? You might be seeing this in the morning. I don't know. But I'm looking and I'm like, let's see what Alex Jones is covering right now. And lo and behold, he drops the bombshell of the century. Okay. I don't think that is even moderate. Like, I think that's real. I think this is the bombshell of the century thus far. Okay. Because what he's got here is he's got the ex-wife of the Google founder, Sergey Brin, Nicole Shanahan, talking about the globalist plot to collapse civilization via the Great Reset and usher in a new dark age that will enslave humanity for 10,000 years. That is the headline. Okay. I started watching this and I stopped after 44 seconds. 44 seconds. I'm like, you know what? Nope. We are going to react to this together, guys. Okay, that's what we're going to do. And so buckle up and let's find out what these people were actually doing when they told us that they were whatever they said they were doing. Okay, this is insane. Oh, by the way, just in case you guys missed this, you know, in case we're able to duck the Great Reset somehow, not the Dark Age. Listen, the other person who controls the most thermonuclear weapons in the world, ready for war. So, ready for war. Don't worry, guys. Sleep tight. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Like, there's nothing to be concerned about at all. Just the only way you can know for sure you'll be protected is if you are actively subscribed to my channel and you have liked this video and you forward this to 10 people. Dude, my kids fall for that all the time. My wife's mom and my kids fall for that all the time. It's like they send stuff out that I get it. I'm like, why are you sending me this? And then I read it and I get to the end and it's all, send this to 10 people or else blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow. So if you guys want to fall for it, if you send this video to 3 people, okay? Actually, I'm serious. If you send this to 3 people, most likely you're going to win the lottery or something else. I don't know. Only one way to find out if it's real. Now, I'm calling an audible real quick because I saw this clip and this is so perfect to lead us into the other one. So I want you guys to watch this real quick. This is Katie Passy perfectly defines the globalist color revolution now taking place in America and how all Americans must mobilize now to stop it. This plays exactly into what we're going to be looking at later. So check this out. All right, here we go.
Funded BLM. Communist globalist playbook to take over a country without tanks actually rolling down Main Street. It's how they flipped places like Serbia, Georgia, Ukraine.
Everybody needs to start taking this really seriously because if people think this is like some kind of like make-believe land, that this is not really happening, you're wrong. This is absolutely happening. This is absolutely happening for sure. Okay? They are trying to do this to us. Okay? Who's they? China, the people we're going to be talking about later in the video, Russia, take your pick, man. Take your pick. Probably China.
Ukraine, and they tried to flip a dozen others. The same exact playbook every single time. This is how they do it. 1, they demonize the leader of the people who they actually voted for. 2, they flood the country with chaos like riots, open borders, economic pain. 3, they weaponize the courts, the media, and big tech to finish him off. And 4, they install a puppet who sells the country out to China and the UN. And that's not theory, that's the manual. They opened it on us in the United States the day Donald Trump won in 2016. And here's how they ran it on us step by step. From 2016 to 2020, they gave us the Russia collusion hoax, FBI spying, 2 fake impeachments.
Sounds too biased. This is the
As a veterinarian with Nutramax Laboratories, the trusted makers of Coastqueen, I had the opportunity to be a part.
Some faces feel wrong. Not monstrous, not alien, but just close enough to human to be terrifying. You know the moment when you see it. Something's off. And before your brain can even explain it, your body already knows. This isn't right. Psychologists call it the uncanny valley, a deep-rooted fear of things that look human but aren't. Why would we have evolved such a strong reaction to faces that are almost human? Our brains are ancient, shaped in a world of predators and prey, long before machines or movies. So what if this reaction comes from somewhere older? What if it was the last trace of a time when the world wasn't just home to Homo sapiens? Other species that looked human but weren't. Some we lived alongside, some we bred with, and some we fought. Maybe the uncanny valley is more than just an odd quirk, and today we will be breaking it down. The idea of the uncanny valley was first described by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori in the 1970s. He noticed that the more human-like a robot became, the more people felt empathy for it, at first. But as it crossed a certain line, something strange happened. Instead of empathy, people felt discomfort, revulsion, even fear. The robot looked too human, but not quite right. The effect dipped into what Mori called the Valley of the Uncanny. And it wasn't just robots. People felt the same way about wax figures, prosthetics, and CGI characters that didn't quite capture life. Something about these faces, too close to humans but subtly wrong, triggered an automatic response. You don't have to think about it. It's instant. It's deep in the mind. And it begs the question, why would we have this instinct at all? Our ancestors didn't evolve alongside robots or movie monsters. The world was filled with wild animals, strange environments, and other humans. Instincts this strong and universal don't arise by accident. They evolve because at some point, they kept our ancestors alive. Think about the fear of snakes. Primates, including humans, are hardwired to fear serpents, and not without reason. In one fascinating study, researchers showed monkeys objects that only vaguely resembled snakes. Even these crude shapes triggered stress responses. Why? Because for millions of years, snakes were deadly predators. Any primate that failed to recognize the danger didn't survive to pass on its genes. Now ask yourself, could the uncanny valley be the same kind of ancient instinct? A warning system designed to help us recognize and fear other kinds of humans? Ones that looked like us but weren't. The existence of this valley suggests that at some point in prehistory, there was a reason to evolve a fear of faces that were almost human. But what or who were we afraid of? For most of our evolution, we weren't alone. Modern humans, aka Homo sapiens, didn't appear on an empty Earth. We emerged in a world already inhabited not only by other hominins but distantly related lines. First of all, our ancestors were not always the dominant species. In fact, for a long time, they were prey more often than predators. If you think Africa is dangerous today, you wouldn't even believe the conditions that our ancestor Homo erectus lived through. There were massive saber-toothed cats ready to pounce, territorial hippopotamus willing to tear you apart, and plenty of other terrifying creatures. But we didn't just evolve alongside other animals. At this time, there were plenty of other hominids around. Our erectus ancestors would have encountered Homo habilis and Homo rudolfensis, close relatives but distinctly different. Mistaking a group of habilis as your family while returning from a hunt could be the last thing you ever do. But we also shared the landscape with very different lineages. Small-bodied Australopithecines were still around 2 million years ago. These guys were pretty weird-looking, with brains the size of a chimpanzee but standing completely upright. Imagine after a long day of hunting, you are taking a rest while your children play nearby. You take a glimpse to check on them, but you notice a slim figure luring your child away.
In the world of investing, a beast lurks between the numbers. Some watch from the safety of the sidelines, but others saddle up and ride that one-ton rowdy ribeye.
16th century fowling piece. The earliest guns considered to be shotguns. They were originally designed for hunting birds. Yep, that's where the name fowling comes from. It's literally about shooting fowl or birds. These guns had some seriously long barrels. We're talking 4 to 6 feet long. That's longer than some people are tall. Unlike today's shotguns, fowling pieces were muzzle loaded and used black powder. So imagine loading each shot through the front of the barrel. Not the quickest process, but it got the job done back then. They eventually found their way onto the battlefield during wars used as a close-range weapon. So yeah, these shotguns went from taking down birds to taking down enemies. Since you're fans of firearms and weaponry, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Conflict of Nations. Conflict of Nations is a free-to-play online PvP strategy game. It's a massive game with up to 128 players competing in wars that can take weeks to complete. You get to choose a real country to lead during World War III. And get this, you can forge alliances with other players or declare war on your neighbors. It's basically the ultimate world domination game. You can use pretty much anything to build your army, including jets, tanks, even nuclear submarines. You get to pick your strategy, engage in epic battles, and, well, take over the world. The best part, Conflict of Nations is compatible with both PC and mobile. You can play on the... Can you imagine taking a shot and suddenly you're drifting away from the scene? 1882, Spencer Model 1882. This gun right here was like the iPhone of its time. Sleek, reliable, and every cowboy just had to have one. Designed by Christopher Minor Spencer, this shotgun was the first successful pump-action shotgun, which basically means you could keep shooting without reloading like a 19th century Rambo. It paved the way for modern pump-action firearms. The Spencer Model 1882 was designed with 2 triggers. The back trigger is meant for firing. With the second one mounted in front, it was meant to recock the weapon in case of a cartridge malfunction. 1897, Winchester Model 1897, designed by John Moses Browning. Yes, the same guy who have designed almost every American firearm of the 20th century. It was the first combat shotgun used largely in World War I. Speaking of World War I, this bad boy earned the nickname Trench Gun. Why? Because in the hellish trenches, the Winchester 1897 wasn't just a shotgun, it was a room sweeper. It wasn't just soldiers who loved this thing. Hollywood did too, from cowboys to gangsters. If you've seen a shotgun in an old Western or action movie, there's a good chance it was this shotgun. 1902, Browning Auto 5, first successful semi-automatic shotgun and John Browning's pride and joy. Introduced in 1902, it's so old it was probably loading shells when Teddy Roosevelt was president. John Browning originally offered his Auto 5 design to Winchester and Remington, who looked at it and said, "Nah, we're good." Then Browning took the design to Belgium's FN Herstal and history was made. The Auto 5 was so reliable, it could survive being thrown off a mountain, dragged through mud, and still fire like nothing happened. Legend says you could even use the Auto 5 as a boat oar or baseball bat. 1912, the Winchester Model 12, a shotgun so reliable and iconic that it earned the nickname the Perfect Repeater. It quickly set a new standard for pump-action shotguns. Designed by T.C. Johnson and built on the foundation of John Browning's earlier Winchester Model 1897, but added significant improvements. Model 12 featured a hammerless design, improving its reliability and aesthetics. The Model 12 was offered in multiple gauges, 12, 16, 20, and even 28 gauge. It was largely produced. 2 million Model 12s had been produced, and it also served as a trench gun and riot gun in World War I and World War II. 1936, Winchester Model 37, designed as a rugged, simple, and affordable shotgun for farmers, hunters, and young shooters. And boy, did it deliver. The Model 37 was built to be tough. No frills, no fuss, just a reliable single-shot shotgun that anyone could depend on. The Model 37 features a break-open action, which is simple to operate and extremely safe for new shooters. Load 1 shell, fire, eject, and repeat. It quickly earned its reputation as the toughest shotgun. By the time production ended in 1963, Winchester had sold over 1 million units. It was designed with a caliber of 12, 16, 20, 28, and even 410 gauge. 1950, Remington 870. Created when Remington Arms decided to design the ultimate pump-action shotgun, it had to be rugged, reliable, and affordable. Designed to replace the Remington Model 31, the 870 featured a strong receiver, a smooth action, and components that were easier and cheaper to manufacture. The result? A mass-produced shotgun with over 12 million units sold since 1950. The 870 is the most produced shotgun ever. 1960, High Standard Model 10. Tactical shotgun designed specifically for law enforcement and SWAT teams. Designed by Alfred Crouch, the Model 10 was the first bullpup shotgun, meaning the action and magazine sat behind the trigger, allowing a shorter overall length without sacrificing barrel length. Perfect for tight spaces. One of its coolest features was a built-in flashlight mounted in the stock. It was one of the earliest attempts at integrating accessories into a shotgun. 1961, Mossberg 500. Known as the shotgun that does it all, it was used for hunting, home defense, and even military use. This shotgun really does it all. Designed by Carl Benson and produced by Mossberg, it's the second most popular shotgun, with over 11 million units produced. One of the coolest things about the Mossberg 500 is its modular design. You can swap barrels, stocks, and accessories in minutes. Go from a hunting setup to a tactical shotgun with ease. Set up to a tactical shotgun with ease. 1963, Remington Model 1100. In the 1960s, most shotguns were either pump action or early semi-autos like the Browning Auto 5, but shooters wanted something smoother. That's when Remington unveiled the Model 1100. Designed by Wayne Leake and Robert Kelly, with an improved gas operation and reduced recoil, it was the softest shooting and most reliable semi-automatic shotgun at its time. 1971, KS-23. Imagine a shotgun so powerful that it uses a barrel originally designed for anti-aircraft guns. It's a Soviet shotgun that's part firearm and part cannon. The Soviets needed a weapon for riot control, prison security, and military. They used 23mm aircraft gun barrels that were rejected for imperfections. Instead of throwing them away, they turned them into the KS-23. The KS-23 fires a 23mm shell, which is roughly equivalent to a 6-gauge shotgun that's almost double the size of a 12-gauge shotgun. 1972. The AA-12, short for Auto Assault 12, world's first fully automatic shotgun capable of spitting out 12-gauge shells like a machine gun. And trust me, it's not your granddad's pump action. Designed by Maxwell Atchison, unlike traditional shotguns, the AA-12 can fire up to 300 rounds per minute. That's 5 to 6 shells a second. It comes with the standard box mags, which hold 8 rounds, but the real fun starts with the 20 or 32-round drum magazines. 1979. Franchise PS-12. Loved mostly by action movies, it was used in Terminator, 1984, and Jurassic Park, 1993. Although it's heavy, nearly 10 pounds loaded, the SPAS-12 combined innovation with futuristic looks. Designed by an Italian firearms manufacturer, Franchi, SPAS stands for Special Purpose Automatic Shotgun. And this gun was built for one thing, combat use. Unlike traditional shotguns, the SPAS-12 had a dual-mode action, meaning it could switch between semi-automatic and pump-action modes. 1989. Uses 12, introduced by Daewoo Precision Industries of South Korea. It was designed with a fire rate of 360 rounds per minute, making it the fastest shotgun in the world. Inspired by the AA-12, it uses either a 10-round box magazine or a massive 20-round drum magazine. Imagine firing an assault rifle with the power of a shotgun. It was also largely used in Hollywood movies like Jumanji 1995 and Machete 2010. 1996, Saiga 12, a shotgun that combines the power of a 12-gauge with the legendary design of the AK-47. Developed in Russia by Mikhail Kalashnikov and his team, it is the first AK-style shotgun. Basically, it's an AK-47 designed for firing 12-gauge shells. 2011, Kel-Tec KSG, designed by an American firearms company, Kel-Tec. The KSG is the first successful shotgun with a dual magazine system. It revolutionized shotgun by using the dual tube design, which allowed the user to load and switch between 2 independent ammunition tubes. The setup allowed the KSG to hold up to 15 shells, 7 in each tube plus 1 in the barrel. Not only that, it is surprisingly lightweight. At just 6.9 pounds, it's perfect for tactical use, home defense, and use in Hollywood movies, like John Wick. 1998. Benelli M4, a shotgun so reliable that it earned its place as the standard issue shotgun of the U.S. Marine Corps. Its story begins when the U.S. military needed a semi-automatic shotgun that could perform flawlessly in the harshest conditions. That's when Benelli, an Italian firearms company known for its innovation, stepped up with the M4. Being also used by civilians for home defense and competitions, it made the Benelli M4 the most popular Benelli M-series shotgun. 2014, Beretta 1301. This thing is like the Usain Bolt of shotguns. Designed to be a fast shotgun, this thing cycles 30% faster than other semi-autos. Basically, if other shotguns were pickup trucks, the Beretta 1301 would be a Lamborghini. Considering its speed and reliability, it's one of the best tactical shotguns in the world. 2012, Uta's UTS-15, another future-looking shotgun featuring innovative technology like integrated flashlight and laser. It quickly gained the public's attention for its futuristic look and technology. Designed by the Turkish company UTAS, it's one of the coolest-looking shotguns out there. 2018, IWI Taver TM.
How you doing? I is Nacho the Squat Show. You is hapless, listening. Of you insapient creature. This is TAAM Radio and I love you. I gotta get them there, they're going yonder. Yuns come back now here. I need yuns to like and subscribe. So I can keep going live and I can give to yuns. I'm doing all this for yuns. I love you. So TAAM Radio brought to you by what the wild things do. Is not to the squat show you is. Listening, hapless, viewing, sapient creature. This is TAAM Radio, and I love you. I love all you.